Welcome. It is Verdict with Senator Ted Cruz, Ben Ferguson with you. It's so nice to have you with us wherever you are listening to us. And don't forget, hit that subscribe or auto-download button so you don't miss an episode. Plus, many of you are joining us on YouTube now, and we say welcome. So if you're watching there on YouTube, you can, nice to have you with us. And if you're listening on audio and you want to watch us on video as well, you can do that. Most of the episodes are now on YouTube. Grab it, Verdict with Ted Cruz on YouTube channel as well. Senator, we've got quite a show to chat about today, including Gavin Newsom. He's a little cranky with us after our last episode. Apparently, he didn't have a dictionary with him, and he couldn't use AI, apparently, to figure out what we were talking about, and that's what made him so mad.
Well, look, we need to have an intervention. Gavin Newsom is having a hysterical bout of crying anxiety because the last episode of Verdict criticized his imbecility and anti-American leftism as he traveled to Europe to attack this country and to say things that are blatantly false. It does help that even Twitter, which sometimes can be a fairly lefty forum, lit the poor guy on fire. I mean, it was so bad I almost felt sorry for his very pretty anti-American leftist self.
You're kinder than me.
Look, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Ben, you're sometimes really harsh. I'm all about the love.
All about the love. Just check your Twitter account for proof, right?
There you go. We're also going to talk about Comrade Mandami. But Comrade Mandami has been in office a little over a month. And shock of all shock, what is he doing to start off with? He's proposing a massive tax increase on the citizens of New York. That will result in rents going up. And there is an irony in this, in that he campaigned on saying he was going to freeze rents. But then he discovered, okay, it turns out you need money to run a city, particularly if you want to run a socialist city where you want to spend massive amounts of money. And so we're going to break down what he's doing. We're also going to talk about the left in Minneapolis is spending real money trying to promote jury nullification. They don't want violent radical activists who assault law enforcement officers to be convicted. They're undermining our justice system. We're going to explain. And finally, at the end, we're going to say goodbye to an American movie classic, Robert Duvall, an extraordinary actor. We're going to have a few words about him. He passed this week. He was 95 years old. He led an incredible life, but nonetheless, we're going to say our farewells to a one-of-a-kind actor.
Yeah, he really was. Senator, I pride myself in being able to read the room, and you reluctantly said at the very end of the show we were going to talk about Robert Duvall's passing. I just am going to do that right now because you're such a movie buff guy, and this is this is me serving you, Senator, knowing that this is top of mind for you. And it's because of the movies that he was in. And let's just start with The Godfather real quick.
Oh, look, Robert Duvall, he lived to 95 years old. He was an incredible actor. He's one of the greatest actors of his generation. He was in his first major movie role was in To Kill a Mockingbird, where he played Boo Radley. And he had no lines, but he just simply through his face, he turned sort of a weird, freakish, scary guy into someone deeply empathetic. And it was an introduction to a career where he had classic roles. He had classic roles in Lonesome Dove, where he was the most badass Texas Ranger to have ever lived. He had a classic role in Apocalypse Now. Look, the phrase, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning," is an American classic. And for him to be squatting down, bare-chested, just explaining that, and the look of the young GIs looking at the guy going, dude, what? Like that conveys a lot. But of all of the roles, the one that is my favorite, and it's a sentimental, is from The Godfather. He was Tom Hagen. He was the lawyer to the Corleone family. He was their consigliere. He was not a blood brother, but he was an adopted brother. And of course, in the second movie, he gets let go by Michael Corleone because Michael says, you're not a wartime consigliere, you're a peacetime consigliere. And the portrayal he plays of sort of the calm, lawyer for the mob, lawyer for mass murderers. The lawyer comes in and says, you don't want to screw with the Corleone family. I got to say, you know, it's interesting. In 2011, Robert Duvall was named an honorary Texas Ranger. And it was his Lonesome Dove portrayal, but it is still, he was not actually a Texan. He was from California and Virginia and Maryland, but Texas loved him.
Yeah.
And he loved Texas. It was a mutual arrangement. I got to say, I'm sad. Look, at 95, you know, every one of us is on a journey where we're going to shuffle off this mortal coil. But his acting body of work is incredible.
It's incredible.
He was very close with Gene Hackman, another one of my favorite actors, and Dustin Hoffman, another incredible actor. They used to be roommates. They worked together. I got to say, Gene Hackman, I could watch Gene Hackman reading the newspaper and be riveted.
It'd be amazing.
And he was another actor in his 90s who just passed away. We're losing modern-day legends, but you know, Robert Duvall, a life well lived, and actually, I'm going to call an audible. I want to play, and particularly for those of you watching this on YouTube, I want to play a clip from one of Robert Duvall's great moments. Give a watch.
Now, just for context, for everybody that's listening in the audio world only, this is a scene from back in 2003, Secondhand Lions, where two old guys walk into a bar with a bunch of young punks. Here it is.
Get some beers. Hey, old man. How's that barbecue? Give me some.
We're busy before we get lost, all right?
What did you say?
Here's a perfect example of what I've been talking about. Since this boy was suckling on his mama's, he's been given everything but discipline. And now his idea of courage and manhood is to get together with a bunch of punk friends and ride around irritating folks too good-natured to put a stop to it.
Hey, who do you think you are, huh?
Just dumb kids, huh? Don't kill him. Right. Hud McCann. I fought in 2 world wars and countless smaller ones on 3 continents. I led thousands of men into battle with everything from horses and swords to artillery and tanks. I've seen the headwaters of the Nile and tribes of natives no white man had ever seen before. I've won and lost a dozen fortunes, killed many men, and loved only one woman with a passion a flea like you could never begin to understand. That's who I am. Now go home, boy.
Show these old bastards who's tough. Get out your knife. Yeah.
Now, boys, you're fixing to let those teenage hormones get you into the world of trouble.
Damn it, Garth, did I ask you to butt in?
Well, you just come out of the hospital.
Well, there's only 4 of them.
Yeah, but, well, look, you fight this one first, and then I'll let you fight the other 3 after, okay?
Yeah. Watch this, kid.
Now, you better pick that knife up, because, son, you're going to need all the help you can get.
Come on, Frankie. Get him, Frankie. Cut him, Frankie. Get him, Frankie. Get him. Get him, Frankie. Cut him. Oh, get him.
Shoot. Oldest trick in the book.
Oh, okay.
You're holding it wrong, son. Not like this. You always do it like this. Smooth. All right? Try it again.
Come on, Frankie. Come on, Frankie. Get him. Come on. Get him, Frankie. Cut him. Come on. There you go. Cut him, Frankie. Come on. Oh, stop. Oh, you're breaking his arm.
You 3 had better get in there and help.
Why aren't you helping him?
Always hogs the bad guys. He's selfish that way.
But there's 4 of them.
Shouldn't you share?
Nah. After 40 years, I'm used to it. Besides, right now, I figure he needs them worse than I do. Go on, let's go home.
It's so good. By the way, if you're listening on audio only, I wish two things.
If you haven't watched that clip, you need to watch that clip.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got
so
Robert Duvall as an old dude. You've got Michael Caine as his buddy. And then you've got Haley Joel Osment as the young kid watching this old dude beat the living crap out of these four punks. And it's, you know, I love Michael Caine comes back with a shotgun and is like, all right, let me stop you because I got four guys with a knife. Drop your knives. They drop their knives and Robert Duvall's like, come on, let me fight him. And he's like, okay, fight the first one. You pick your knife up. The other three stay back. And then once you beat him up, you can beat the other three. Like it's classic old, like badass. And that is Robert Duvall.
By the way, did you ever see Gone in 60 Seconds? Duvall was in that. I mean, amazing. I think it was Otto was his name in the movie. If you've never watched that one, like it's just I grew up and it was younger and like fast cars and stealing cars and Nicolas Cage and Duvall. He was unbelievable in that one as well. So grab it. Yeah. So there you go. All right. I'm glad we did that. I'm glad I called the audible here. I knew you wanted to talk about this.
Now hold on. If you're going to do this, there's another clip we got to watch, which is from Lonesome Dove. Augustus McCrae walking in, this old weathered Texas Ranger walking into a bar, and let's say there's a punk ass bartender. Actually, there's a lot of similarity between these two scenes, but it's part of why I love Duvall. Look, as a young man, he was the slick, calm lawyer in Godfather, but as an old guy, he got better as an old guy. So listen and watch this great clip from Lonesome Dove.
What I like about the man, he's a philosopher.
Oh, yeah. I hired him to give you somebody to talk to. That'll free the rest of us up, maybe. We'll get a little work done.
I like a shot of whiskey, and so would my companion. It ain't too much trouble. Howdy, boy, you got a good game going there?
Who the hell's that?
You got mud in your ears or what?
Rye, or what'll it be, old timer?
Well, rye will do, provided it gets here quick.
You darn cowboys ought to broom yourselves off before you walk in here. Get all the sand we need without the customers bringing it in. That'll be $1.
Now, besides the whiskey, I think will require a little respect. Now, I'm Captain Augustus McCrae. This is Captain Woodrow F. Call. Now, if you care to turn around, you can see how we looked when we was younger, and the people around here wanted to make us senators. Now, the thing we didn't put up with then was dawdling service. And as you can see, we still don't put up with it.
Get out! Watch it there.
Now then, if I could have a fresh glass, please.
You just broke my nose, you old son of a...
Well, here's to the sunny slopes long ago.
By the way, in that scene, that's Tommy Lee Jones who says nothing at all, which is pretty funny, but you can tell in his facial expressions he's having the time of his life making this movie with Duvall.
No, and they wanted Duvall to play the role that Tommy Lee Jones played, and Duvall said no. Augustus McCrae was the only role he played. Wouldn't do the movie if he didn't get it was actually a television series, a 4-part series, but he was just an all-time classic. 95 years well lived. By the way, Duvall insisted. Do you know he's not having a funeral?
He's not.
He said, "Don't have a ceremony for me. Just go and watch a good movie, tell a good story, sit around with friends and loved ones." I mean that really is Duvall.
I kind of dig that.
I wish I never got a chance to meet him.
I was going to say, did you ever meet him?
He was a conservative. I heard fabulous things. I knew people who knew him. I wanted to meet him, but we just never crossed paths. But my heart is beating for an American legend who left us.
Yeah, rest in peace, and go watch a Duvall movie. What a great way to honor his 90-plus years on Earth. It truly is incredible. All right, let's get to the politics now, and we'll start with, you couldn't get any further from Duvall with Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom trashes America.
No, hold on a second. Gavin Newsom is the young punk in the bar.
That's true.
And by the way, you and I get to be, I think, in this story, Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes,
although there is one thing that's stretching that, which is Tommy Lee Jones is silent in that scene, and Ben, you've never been silent in any scene.
No, that's also very true. That's why they pay me the big bucks, right? That's why they pay me the big bucks.
You know, like the old time lawyers, they pay you by the word.
Yeah, right. All right. So let's set the stage for this story. You and I do a show. We talk about it. We're going to play part of that in a second. But I want to know, when did you and how fast did you find out after he tweeted at us getting all cranky? He got his underwear in a wad is the way I described it. My phone, actually, I started getting random texts from people, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I was in a meeting. I'm like, what? Like, they're like, dude, Newsom's like throwing shade, and he's really upset with you guys. And I was like, well, that's what I would expect from a California liberal, to be honest with you. When did you find out?
So our last podcast, we lit up AOC and Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom, all of whom went to Munich, to the Munich Security Conference, and they all made fools of themselves. They're all trying to run for president. They're all trying to be impressive, and they all just like totally beclowned themselves. And AOC and Whitmer showed they know nothing about foreign policy or national security. Gavin Newsom did something different. He just decided to demonize law enforcement, and he made a statement in particular. He said, no president has ever before federalized the National Guard, and that's just laughably false. So I want to play the clip from what we said in the very last podcast, and this is the clip that so triggered young Gavin. Listen.
Let's be very clear, Senator. That is Gavin Newsom comparing American law enforcement to Nazis.
Yep. Which, by the way, is what Obama was doing too. By the way, just like AOC and Whitmer, Newsom is apparently thoroughly historically illiterate. He said we've never seen National Guards federalized in the states. I guess his history book does not discuss the civil rights movement. He's never heard of a president named Dwight D. Eisenhower. He's never heard of sending the National Guard into southern states when Democrats who refused to desegregate schools resisted. Eisenhower sent the National Guard in. The pattern is the same. In this instance, you have Democrats who are saying we refuse to comply with federal immigration law. Then you had, in the 50s and 60s, you had Democrats saying we refuse to comply with civil rights law. In both instances, it is lawless Democrats attacking law enforcement. Gavin Newsom is proudly following the tradition of Bull Connor, another Democrat politician.
That's all that you really said, and then his response was a total freak out.
Yeah, so Gavin on Twitter, he sent out a tweet, and like all good Democrats, when caught being full of crap, he responds by attacking and screaming, "You cannot criticize me." And in particular, what he said is, Ted Cruz calling a dyslexic person illiterate is a new low, even for him. Now, let's start out. First of all, who the hell knew Gavin Newsom was dyslexic? I didn't know that. Did you know that, Ben?
I did not. And it's funny. I'm dyslexic, but that doesn't mean you're stupid. By the way, the two
by
don't
the way,
correlate.
I didn't know you were dyslexic either.
Yeah, because I don't use it as a crutch. But since Gavin's bringing it up like it's some you went off the rails on him. Like, how dare you do that? Like, I'm dyslexic doesn't mean you're dumb. It doesn't make you mean stupid statements because you're dyslexic. Like, you can still be intelligent and be dyslexic, buddy.
So Gavin's defense is you're not allowed to criticize me because I have a disability. That is, if there's anything to embody the idiocy of today's Democrat Party, that does it pretty well. So it's interesting. I sent two responses. The first response I sent was, I didn't say you couldn't read, you clown, with the emoji of the clown. I said you were, quote, historically illiterate because you apparently have no idea that Eisenhower federalized the National Guard to stop Democrat governors from defying federal law. Specifically, on September 23, 1957, President Eisenhower issued Executive Order 10730, federalizing the Arkansas National Guard and ordering U.S. Army troops, the 101st Airborne Division, to Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yep.
This action broke the blockade by Democrat Governor Orville Faubus, allowing the Little Rock Nine to desegregate Central High School. Now, Gavin had no response to that. Now, I got to tell you, let me bring you a little bit inside the scenes. So my team had a different response that they suggested, and I have a whole social media communications team. They had a different response. Their different response was to send out a tweet with a GIF of Zoolander.
There's a mini video, just so everybody that doesn't know what that is. Like, some people may not realize what that is. It's like the mini little video kind of thing you send out.
So it's Ben Stiller as Zoolander, and he's looking down at a sign that says, the Gavin Newsom Center for What Kids Who Don't Know What Historically Illiterate Means and Who Want to Learn to Do Other Stuff Good Too. So that my team put that together. I did not put that together. I saw that, and I sent mine instead. And then my team got all upset, and they're like, wait, you didn't like ours. And I said, you know what? Let's have a competition. Send that one, too. Let's put them both out.
And see which one wins.
Both out on the internet and see which one wins. So as of, we're now 12:21 a.m., the Ben Stiller GIF, which was clever, has gotten 397,000 views.
Okay.
The one I wrote has gotten 1 million views.
Yeah. So how long are you going to haze them on this data that you have that's undisputed?
Okay. So not to brag too much, but I did beat the team by 250%.
Just for everyone, I want to take them behind the scenes. When Senator, when you are correct and your team has these moments, I enjoy not being on that team. I enjoy being a spectator. Okay. But I do know
but hold on. I'm going to be gracious for a minute. I'm going to be gracious for a minute. Although I got 2.5 times as much coverage as they did in terms of people watching it, I will say the comments on their GIF, the folks that saw it loved it. So I'm just going to go through a few. Joe Lonsdale, good friend of ours, big tech entrepreneur. He's been on the podcast. He did the crying emoji. Another guy said whoever came up with this meme needs a raise. Another guy said, sir, this is a 10 for 10 post. It's too bad Newsom won't be able to read it. Another person had a GIF from The Simpsons. Hello, 911. I'd like to report a murder.
Yeah.
The volume of comments, the X trolling continues. Good. A picture of Trump toasting. Crying Trump emojis. Cruz clearly won this round. Blah, ha, 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 ha. It's like this put you in my top 5 favorite politicians. I'm really depressed. Who are the other 4?
Yeah, right.
Well done, good sir. Well done. Spitting out. He went to school at the Leering School.
So the team is going to get accolades for quality over quantity.
I gave them that. Actually, their comments, the people who saw it loved it. They're like, this is a friggin' great comment. And so, you know what? I said, I'm glad we sent them both.
Yeah.
We reached more people. Mine had kind of substance. I'm going to tell you another admission. You know how I wrote my tweet?
Yeah. How?
You do? How?
No. I'm saying how. Tell me how.
I know you said yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I know you wrote it, but I can what people don't understand about you is when you can check out of any conversation if you have something clever that you want to get out into the world of the internet, as you described earlier. I would call it X, social media. I'm just gonna hit you on age there, like putting it out into the internet. Yes, okay, Al Gore, he created it back in the day. But there's nothing scarier than watching TC at dinner, just quietly over there and disengaging from the conversation for about 5 minutes. And you know what's coming. It's going to be something really entertaining on the internet. I can promise you that.
So my team had sent me this gift. Monday night, I was playing hoops. And as you know, I play hoops twice a week. And so it was about 3 hours of hoops. And I had, after a couple of games, we lost one game, and so I didn't hit my free throws, so I was sitting waiting for the next game. And so I typed this responding, and it's actually a very cool thing about AI. So the first part of it that I sent, which is because you apparently have no idea that Eisenhower federalized the National Guard to stop Dem governors from defying federal law. I wrote that. Yeah. But then I went to Google and I typed in Eisenhower federalizing National Guard because, I wanted a little more research. And Google AI, so the second paragraph of my tweet was written by Google AI. And so the paragraph specifically on September 23rd, 1957, so I didn't know the date until I went into Google AI. Yeah. President Eisenhower issued Executive Order 10-730. I didn't know the number of the 10-730. Like the whole details of the second paragraph. The beauty of Google AI, it took me 30 seconds to pull those details.
It took you missing your free throws, then giving you the opportunity.
Okay, that's true.
Giving you the opportunity.
If I hit my damn free throws. All right, punk.
None of this would have ever happened. None of this would have ever happened if it wasn't for you sucking at free throw shooting that night. I just want to be clear about what brought this opportunity together.
Let me just say for the record, what happened the last time you played hoops with me?
You or someone else decided to break my finger. It's still crooked. If you can't see it right there, America, there it is. It is as a crooked finger right there.
I'm just saying you were a college Division I varsity athlete. And
to be clear, Lonsdale would back me up on this. I taped it up and played like a man.
You did. I agree. Yes. You did not crawl up in a ball and whimper. But I'm just saying, you broke bones when you decided to hoops with us.
And I still hit my shots. You guys don't play fair. You get older, you start grabbing for stuff. You can't see straight if it's a hand or a ball.
That's how old guys play.
That's how old guys play. Exactly. So you miss your free throws. AI came and saved the day. You put out the tweet. Gavin shoots back, and that's how we got to where we are right now.
But think about it. Even like a year ago, to put together the details of that tweet, I would have a year ago probably, if I wanted to have a little substance in the tweet, I might have sent a text
get your team involved.
To my team, said, hey, research, give me the exact details. I know Eisenhower federalized the National Guard, but give me the specifics.
When, who, what, when, where, and why, right?
And someone would have researched it. They would have sent it to me, and then I would have included it. And instead, I just did it in between games. Like the whole thing took me maybe 3 minutes to type.
So when did you see the Newsom response? Was it after missing more free throws, or was it later on?
It was before the game, and to be honest, I only sat one game. I missed free throws and won most of the rest of the time, and the couple times I lost, I hit my free throws. But I did once miss my damn free throws. But the beauty of it is it literally – so I had seen it before I started playing, and I'm like, no, and I'm sort of – I don't know about you, but like – when I'm thinking about something, I often will sort of put it out of my mind and let the back of my brain process it.
You ponder for a little bit, and you go back, and then you come back to it,
And it was sort of like literally as I'm playing hoops, I'm chewing on what kind of response I want to have. And so then when I had a break, I'm like, all right, let me type it out.
All right, I got to ask you, is Gavin Newsom on your top 5 liberals that you would love one-on-one debate with?
Oh, look, I don't know. We talked about in the last podcast how I think Newsom and AOC are probably the top 2 Democratic contenders for the presidential nomination. We'll see. Neither of them know what the hell they're talking about. So I feel confident we will see them called to account.
Well, there's always the leering center of dyslexia. It could be in California. Gavin Newsom could be in charge of it. We know there's waste, fraud, and abuse out there.
And by the way, Newsom's being a doofus has nothing to do with his being dyslexic. I didn't even know the guy was dyslexic.
I've never been offended as being a guy that's dyslexic until I saw his tweet, and I'm like, dude, this is so out of bounds. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you can be dyslexic and be brilliant. It doesn't mean that you're incompetent.
And you can know something about history.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So you have a challenge reading because of a learning disorder. It doesn't mean you have to be ignorant of everything that has happened in American history. But when ideology trumps facts, that's when you say things like what Gavin Newsom did. By the way, it's also when you say things like AOC said, where she said, she got mad at Marco Rubio for talking about all the things we've inherited from Europe, including cowboy tradition that came from Spain. And she said, why don't you try asking Mexico and Africa about that? I will tell you on Twitter, I had fun. This was another thing I said. I just said, hey, Grok, where did the Mexicans get their horses?
Yeah.
And of course, Grok responded from the Spanish conquistadors in the 15th century, Cortez. By the way, I pointed out It's a little ironic her name is Cortez, and she doesn't actually know about Cortez, like the Spaniards bringing horses and bringing... Look, yes, the Mexican vaqueros were a predecessor to American cowboys, but the Spanish vaqueros were a predecessor to the Mexican vaqueros. But you know what? A little Marxist like AOC or Gavin Newsom, they don't want to acknowledge that Europe existed or did anything good, and so they have to, because all is ideology. Europe must be evil.
You can't fix stupid, sir. You just can't fix stupid. All right, this is one of my favorite shows. I enjoyed this. We gave you a curveball there, and you got to do two things you love talking about. Don't forget, and we'll get to those other issues, I promise you, in future shows, so don't worry about that. Don't forget, we do this show Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Hit that subscribe or auto-download button wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to watch the show and you can see those clips that we were playing earlier, you can watch it on YouTube as well. And the Senator and I will see you back here on Friday morning.